Hello YouTube, and welcome back to Tylo or Bust. I'm Mike Braedley, and we are pretty much exactly where we left off last episode. I did deorbit that refueler, but that's about the only thing I've done off camera. So let's go ahead and get this guy out to Jool and get him in orbit. Okay guys, we're back, and I've set up a mid-transfer correction burn that is hopefully going to get us pretty well situated in Jool's orbit once we change the sphere of influence. You can see kind of that we've got a nice intercept there with Jool. So let's go ahead and get this guy burned. And there we have it. So, I'll come back to you when I'm about to enter Jool's sphere of influence. Okay guys, we're back, and we are in Jool's sphere of influence. Woohoo! So let's just check to see what this is going to be like. We're going to have to lower periaps a little bit just to for our aero braking maneuver. So let's go and set that up. If I can create a maneuver node here. And post-commentary Mike here. I just wasn't really happy with my commentary during this section. So I end up getting a maneuver node to some degree. I don't really use it though. It's more of just double checking which direction I really want to burn. I make a couple burns, just trying to get my periaps down to an appropriate altitude so that I can do my aero braking maneuver. And here we see me warping in a little bit more, making a few more adjustments, continuing to fine adjust that periaps. And our first aero braking maneuver coming up right about now. And of course, that helps to bring down my apogee and prevent me from escaping. Unfortunately, I wasn't deep enough into the atmosphere to completely aero capture. I did have to do a little burn there, and also had to do a second pass. But as we see, we have a encounter with Lathe coming up, and that is a little bit fortuitous, and you'll see why here in a second. Could it be that I might get my encounter with Tylo? I think it is. So let's see what happens if I were to burn here. I would get an encounter. So I think we're going to do that. We are out of the atmosphere, so there's not going to be any more changes to our current orbit. Now the question is, which direction is that coming in? That is coming in the wrong way. We're going retrograde on that orbit, so let's see if we can pull that around. And there we go, kind of. A little more. Perfect! There, that'll do. We'll fix the orbit a little bit better. Maybe some of this. No, I think we'll have to wait until we're at the descending node to fix our inclination. But yeah, that was easy. I've never had this happen so easily. So, do our flyby past Lathe. Let's take a look at that. Maybe we'll go there someday. But that's not the point of this series. It's all about Tylo. Oh, and I need to extend my solar panels again. I always keep forgetting to do that. But I luckily have a lot of spare battery power, thanks to this guy. Bye-bye, Lathe. And so, just a few more adjustments, particularly plane change, so that we get a nice equatorial encounter with Tylo. And also just making sure that we're coming at it at the right direction. So we go ahead and warp eventually. Soonish, maybe? There we go. And we do that quick plane change burn. And then we're just about ready for our encounter. Woohoo! Tylo encounter! Okay, let's set ourselves up with a nice orbit. Wow, this is going to be a long burn. So I'm not going to subject you to that, but I will get all set up. And next time you see me, we'll be in orbit of Tylo. And there you have it, guys. We're at the very least in a stable orbit. We're not quite in the orbit that we want to be in, but yeah, we'll get this all trimmed up, and yeah. I guess for the second half of this episode, I'll do a little science, or at least get prepared to do a little science. I'm going to build a probe that will help me measure what I'm going to need in order to land here on Tylo. So we'll see. I'll finish this orbit trimming, and we'll see you on the launch pad. Okay, guys, we're back, and we have our science probe on the launch pad. And you can see I've already set up Jool to be about 90 degrees of phase angle. This is pretty close to the optimum time to launch. Some math says it's actually a little bit higher, about 95 degrees, but I find 90 degrees to be pretty close. So let's get this guy into orbit and then on its way to Jool. So yeah, this is all, of course, post-commentary from here on, because it's 10 times video. I didn't even bother recording commentary initially because I knew this would be sped up. So yeah, this is just a standard launch, asparagus staging, and you'll notice that I also have a fairing on top. I installed the Procedural Fairings mod, mainly just for looks, and of course you can see MechJeb windows all about. I'm using it for a couple of things, just to make life easier, not because I need it, only because it's just makes life easier. So I go ahead and try getting a nice transfer orbit. I spend probably too much time doing this, but for you it's all sped up, so it doesn't really matter. Eventually I just settle with the one that MechJeb gives me, even though it doesn't actually give me an encounter with Jool. But hey, whatever, it works. And I get my probe out there eventually. And so here we go with the burn, spending the last of my lifter stage, which wasn't much, and then starting on the transfer stage, which is just a nuclear rocket and one of the large, small diameter tanks. And since I didn't actually have an encounter, I go about trying my best to get something. It takes me a few minutes, but that's okay. As you just saw there, I had something, and I'll later trim it up to get it nice and close to Jool so that I can do a proper aero capture. Again, that mid-transfer burn just to adjust the position of my periaps when I actually do change sphere of influence. And then we run that burn quite quickly. That's all it takes. Even at 10 times, this takes a long time to do. I really wish they would have just one more level of acceleration or time warp, so that your transfers out to Jool could go even just a little bit faster. But hey, we are in the sphere of influence now, and final adjustments on our periaps for aero capture. And again, I get lucky on this aero capture and the way the moons all line up, because, as we'll see here shortly, I get an encounter right away. And so again, just trimming it up to give me a nice equatorial orbit once I encounter, using Smart ASS to point me in the right directions quickly and easily. And then my orbital insertion burn. So if any of this seems really complicated, it isn't. You just need to know the correct time to burn, correct direction, and MechJeb helps a lot with that, as well as the maneuver nodes. But there we are captured, and live commentary Mech is about to come back. So guys, here we are in orbit with our science probe. What I'm going to be doing next episode is basically changing the altitude of the probe, which is just this little top part here. There's a decoupler right there. This is just the transfer stage. And then taking readings on basically how fast I'm going, so that I can determine how much delta V I'm going to need in order to land, or at least get a rough estimate. But before we do that, since I still have plenty of fuel in my transfer stage, we're gonna decouple, switch to the transfer stage, which I included a probe body on, and we're just gonna try our best to get this guy landed, see what happens. Ooh. Get my fingers on the right controls. And wish me luck. So as we can already see, I already have a whole ton of velocity here, and we have just hit there is 0 time warp altitude, which apparently is 30 kilometers. Yeah, I think surface skim is not going to work for us, so we'll have to try heaven drop, even though it is only from 30 kilometers. Since I can already see the ground scatter, I'm obviously a little too low for the speed I'm going and the speed I'm dropping. So yeah, I don't think this transfer stage is going to survive. Nope, still going way too fast. Although my descent speed is dropping nicely, and I'm actually headed back into space. Let's try and keep our descent speed at around. Well, it's gonna be hard to keep it at a nice speed. Wow, would you look at that? Haha. Kind of. Explosions. So yeah, that's the kind of thing I'm going to be facing, trying to land actual Kerbals here. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. If you'd like to continue watching, feel free to subscribe. And if you liked the episode, please leave a like. Those really help channels that are just starting out like me. Suggestions, comments, leave them down below. In any case, you've been watching Tylo or Bust. I'm Mike Braedley. I'll see you next time.